Hi, Susan.
Hello. Hi, Louise. Thank you so much for having me.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for receiving me, and I'm really looking forward to know more about you and YouTopia. And even though it's not a classic podcast, as I also do a podcast on my channel, I just wanted to start by asking you if you can introduce yourself to my audience the way you want.
Sure. Well, I'm Susan Wojcicki. I'm CEO of YouTube, and I've been CEO for about 8 years. And I've been at Google for many, many years. I remember Google when it first started. I joined Google when they were, I was officially employee 16, so just a small set of people.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a mom, so I'm busy, working mom.
Yeah.
And for my hobbies, I love just to be outside and enjoy nature and hiking and gardening. And I can also say that I did 5e in France. I went to the Lycée de Ferney, and I also did kindergarten in Switzerland. So I have a good understanding. It's a French public school, so I have a good understanding of French and a big love for French culture.
Great. Well, tu es la bienvenue quand tu veux à Paris. So we're here to talk about the event YouTopia, and my first question was to know why YouTube decided to support YouTopia, and more globally, what is this event about?
Well, first of all, we love working with creators when they come together and they do entrepreneurial work to give back to society. And we were really excited with YouTopia, the way that creators are coming together, they're doing something that's good for the planet. It's a fundraising effort, and it's also a nice way to support creators.
Great. Have you noticed a change in recent years in the content you see on YouTube, and creators speaking more and more about sustainability and about climate change?
Well, we do see that sustainability and climate change is probably the number one issue that probably overall all of our users care about. And we definitely have seen an increase in that in terms of the type of content and the number of creators who are talking about it. And what I think is good about YouTube is the fact that we can offer such a broad range of topics on on sustainability and on climate change, whether it's the science, the politics, the how-to, the future ahead. So we offer just a large set of information, and we do that in all languages and in all countries. So we definitely have seen an increase in people using it.
Mm. And in this area, in sustainability, which content do you see get the most hype, if I can say it that way? And do you think content creators can help make these topics desirable and thus reaching more and more people?
Well, we definitely see creators talking about all kinds of topics. And so I wouldn't say there's any one topic that is the topic of hype or that is the main topic.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've learned from working at Google and YouTube and working with information for so long is that there is so many different ways that you can approach any topic. And sustainability and climate change are one of those topics that has many, many dimensions to it. That said, we definitely have seen an increase. So, for example, we see some topics like permaculture. We saw 50 million views in France, which is quite a lot. We've seen topics like upcycling up 50%. And we also have this trend of FarmTube, which is people who are farmers talking and documenting about their life in agriculture. And globally, we've seen over 3 billion views. So that's just an example of content that we've seen certainly an increase in. But I do believe really that YouTube covers every topic when it comes to sustainability and to climate change.
Yeah. I was just wondering if it can last, as also a consumer of YouTube, I observe that entertainment reaches a larger audience. And how do you think maybe YouTube can support content creators that are talking about such important topics and about climate change, environment, that are much more serious and that often doesn't get as much views and as much reach as entertainment does?
I'd say that entertainment and information just follow different cycles. So entertainment, especially pop culture around entertainment, you can see a really big burst, a lot of information, a high amount of viewership all at once. And then that's something that maybe people aren't watching anymore. Whereas information is something that's more persistent and more constant. And it also has multiple dimensions around it. And so if you sum up all of the information around climate change and all the different topics, whether, again, the science, the politics, transportation, energy, new form, renewable energy, how to, what to do at home, all of those topics, and you look at that over a period of time, you would see that it's quite substantial and that it continues, that it's consistent. It's not like there's a big hype and then it goes down. Mm-hmm. It's that is information that's always on and people are always looking at. So I think it's very different.
Yeah, it's not just a trend. There is also, I've heard many times people saying that, watching videos in streaming is detrimental for the environment, and especially if we watch videos in high definition. And so some people might think, okay, I want to educate myself on the subject, I want to do better and be more sustainable. But if it is detrimental for the environment to watch videos, then maybe I should not watch videos at all. What would you say to these people?
Well, I can tell you that Google has taken sustainability very, very seriously. And in 2007, Google was the first major company to announce that we were going to be carbon neutral. And we just announced in the past year that by 2030, we actually will be carbon zero. And that's due to all kinds of ways that we're going to work with renewable energy and continue to improve how we use energy across the company. But I would also say that, we studied certainly how much energy it uses to watch, say, 1 hour of HD on a desktop. And it's about 46 watts, which is a comparison to drinking a cup of tea and making a cup of tea. So it's really small. It's less than you would think. And we're continuing to lower that number and continue to work with the renewables to make sure that we have a long-term vision around sustainability.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I think that answers a lot of questions. And I was wondering, what do you personally want to see more on YouTube in the future in order to have a positive impact on the planet and in the platform in general? What do you wish to see in the years to come?
Well, I'd say one of the things that I love about YouTube is just the fact that we can offer so much information on so many different topics. And so, in many ways, I think about it as a video library and the opportunity for us to continue to grow that to people all over the world, to be able to access that information and to see it. And so I hope that continues to grow. And I certainly love the way creators do use their channels for good, like YouTopia. So I'd love to continue to see more of that. And that's why YouTube is very supportive. And also continuing to make sure that we use YouTube to connect different groups. So COP26, for example, we're bringing a number of YouTubers to COP26 to have that covered. Alicia Joe, Brave Wilderness, for example, and making sure that is information that can be available to people, young people all over the world in an accessible format.
Yeah, what you just said brings another question in my mind regarding the information. And there is this phenomenon of the fake news that we see in the political world. How can we make sure, or how can YouTube make sure that the information that is shared regarding, the environment and sustainable related topics are not fake or exaggerated, as it is a big issue because we see, a lot of people getting scared and sharing a lot of strange theories. So is this a stake that you have in mind, and how can you make sure that fake news phenomenon doesn't reach environmental topic in general?
First of all, we want to make sure that we're raising up authoritative information when that comes from sources that can be trusted. So when we think about information, and our recommendation system, we look at who the publisher, the creator, and make sure that is an authoritative expert on the subject. And if you do any kind of video around sustainability or around important information topics, we have information cards below. So if you look and see, that will often have a link to Wikipedia or to other sources to be able to make sure that you're getting the right information. And the same thing for search. If you were to go and to do any very sensitive search on information, we would have an information card there as well for you to be able to access that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one big thing that we're doing. And, also, YouTube's an open platform, so we want to enable a diversity of views, but we also want to, we have a higher standard for where we serve ads, and that's important for our advertisers, but it's also important that we are that we have a higher standard for where we make money. And so we don't monetize climate denial content. And so people could post that content, but it's less likely to be recommended, and it's not something that you could make a business out of.
Yeah, I think it's a tough way to find a balance between what we call liberté d'expression, but also misinformation. And yeah, I think YouTube is doing a great job on that subject. Okay, so my very last question would be, if you would assist to the YouTopia event, which I'm intending, and so for example, I choose to do a talk about fast fashion, which is a big concern of mine and even a passion, and I know some creators will be talking more about food, some would be talking about permaculture. What would you have chosen if you would have, organize or assist to a workshop at YouTopia? What would be yours? Maybe what touches you more regarding all the sustainable workshops that could be done at YouTopia?
Oh, good question. So there are many topics in sustainability that I would be interested in attending, but one of them probably would just be around what you can do as an individual. And I think that's been one of the biggest challenges that we all have, is that we care so much, but yet it's challenging to figure out, what are the things that we can all do as an individual. Those are the kind of things I'd be interested in. How do you live your life without producing garbage? What are all the different ways that you can, should you be growing more food? Food waste, I know, is also a huge issue that contributes to climate change. So what are all the different ways that you could change your lifestyle to actually make a difference? That's one. I think the second thing is that I also think YouTube is really good at helping people organize. And I think it's very useful for people to see, what can they do? How can they reach out to their politicians? How can they reach out to different climate groups? How can they give back and try to use the organizations and reach out to their own representatives to be able to talk about this being important, because ultimately a lot of the change needs to be done by the government in addition to individuals.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for your answers and your time, Suzanne.
Thank you. I'm glad to see all the great work, and we're super excited about all the creators doing work in sustainability. And we actually have a number of shows that YouTube produced recently. Dear Earth, for example, is one of them that we have a lot of key people in, from Blackpink to President Obama to Sundar, who's the CEO of Alphabet. Seat at the Table, that is another one with Jack Harries that talks about ways that people are making a difference. And then, of course, we are doing work with YouTopia, which we're really excited about. So I'm excited to watch your live stream, and I wish you all the best of luck with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I will put the reference of everything you quoted in the description bar below. And of course, everyone that watches this video can watch the live of YouTopia on my channel. And I look forward to this event, as I think it's going to be a great way to connect with other creators and put the work in common.
Yeah, what are you excited about with YouTopia?
I'm really excited to meet other creators that are sharing the same engagement, the same commitment, and yeah, to put our value or our center of interest in common, as I think we're really gonna complete each other. So I'm looking forward to see how this event is gonna be like, and to see the impact it can have also on our audiences and maybe inspire change.
That's great. I think the inspiration is a really big part. So it's great to see the inspiration that you and all the creators are doing, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you, and thank you for making it possible. Goodbye, Suzanne, and maybe see you soon in Paris or in California.
I hope so. I hope to see you in the future.
À bientôt.
Salut!